Hey friends, I'm Adrienne. We are going to continue today with talking about using AI as your thinking partner. Maybe use ChatGPT, maybe use Claude, something else. I personally love ChatGPT, though I do use many of the different apps and models. So whatever is your tool of choice, right? So one of the things that is a bit viral right now is using ChatGPT to help identify your strengths and your blind spots. And the reason that this is going viral is because ChatGPT just recently announced that it can now remember all of your conversations that you've had with it, unless you specifically delete stuff from the memory. So this, of course, makes things interesting because you may not be keeping track of everything that you've been talking to ChatGPT about, but maybe there's some stuff in there, some challenge spots, some opportunities for growth, some really strong strengths that you haven't considered. So there could be some different things that just may not be at the forefront of your consciousness about you. So people are using ChatGPT right now to point out strengths and blind spots. So I wanted to share how I did this and then also offer up a far more robust prompt to do this. That isn't just, hey, tell me my strengths, tell me my blind spots. This is actually getting kind of into the nitty-gritty of things, especially if you're working with a particular situation right now. So with that in mind, we are going to, I'll share my screen here and there we go. Okay. So the first thing I did, once I knew I could remember everything, was hopped on that viral prompt. Describe me based on all of our chats, make it catchy. And meet Adrienne, the reinvention coach who's walked through fire and came out with running shoes, a journal, and a vision. So I thought this was really fun. Here we go. Okay, so now that you can remember all of our chats, tell me my 5 biggest blind spots in my life and in my business. So most people are just saying, tell me my 5 blind spots, or tell me my blind spots, tell me my strengths. So I was very specific. Tell me my 5 biggest blind spots in my life and in my business. Tell me the 5 actions I should take in each area to become the most abundant and best version of myself. So it does. It goes through life blind spots and actions, and it does not hold back. I also asked, what is one positive thing about me that I may not know? What is one area of improvement I may not see? And so this was kind of interesting. But I'm getting a bit off topic here as I do. But this is also a problem that I have seen online, particularly with people that fit into my customer profile. So I think this will be applicable to a lot of people. And then I give a very specific response instructions. I want to know the key facts, highlight any missing information, emotional blind spots, or unexplored perspectives, identify any limiting beliefs, internal contradictions, or identity level patterns, name 1 to 2 of my core strengths or innate resources. And that part is important because sometimes when we're caught up in the problem of something, we just can't quite think through it. We're spinning our wheels. We're going around in circles. By having ChatGPT point out a core strength or resource, it may activate something in you to think of a way that you may already have the answer and perhaps you just haven't considered it yet. So by asking it to name those core strengths and innate resources, it's bringing to surface something that you may not be considering, but on the positive side rather than on the challenging side. So then offer 3 thoughtful, open-ended questions. And I always love to ask ChatGPT when I'm working through personal development type stuff to give me some questions that I can journal on. I want to take this away from the computer. I want to, get into my actual journal and do some thinking about this away from the machine. Otherwise, you can just get lost in that back and forth dialogue where you're not really getting the response or the breakthrough, the insight that you're looking for. You can just get caught up in the minutia of the conversation. So you always want to take something away, journal about it, and see what's there. So then I have ending with 1 line of insight or encouragement. I like this just because I think it's always helpful to kind of end on a high note, reminding you what you can do, cheering you on. And it's not that you want AI to be an echo chamber for what's so great about you. But again, when we're exploring a problem, you're bringing, a context of something that you're stuck on here. You don't want to leave the conversation with AI feeling like you're in this hopeless place, right? You want that insight, that encouragement, to kind of end it on a high note. Include a somatic suggestion. This is important because if you and I were sitting in a coaching situation and we're going through stuff, I would be checking in with you to see how things are feeling in your body. And this can be really challenging for people. Sometimes you ask, you tell me something, I listen. I'm looking at your body language, what you're not saying, perhaps, the words that you're choosing, the change in your tone, stuff like that. And I may reflect back to you what you told me, mixed in with a hunch that I have about what you're not saying, what maybe the underlying issue really might be. And I say, tell me where I'm wrong. And I give you an opportunity for feedback. And so we go through this. And whether you immediately agree or disagree, I'll ask you, check in with your body. Like, how is that landing? And oftentimes people be like, well, I just feel stuck. Nope. Let's go into your body. Physical sensation. What are you feeling? Where are you feeling it? And sometimes we can over intellectualize things, right? We can get stuck in our head. And what we need to do is get back into our body. Do we feel expansion? Do we feel contraction? Are we feeling that, jittery electric buzz, like something good is going on? Or do you feel like contraction, like, ooh, that doesn't feel good? Think of like hot and cold, right? And your kids, like my brother would hide something, say the TV remote, and then I had to find it. And as I'm looking around the living room, he'd be like hot, cold, freezing, cold, warm, kind of letting you know by temperature if you're getting closer to the thing that you're looking for. So when you tune into your body, it's kind of like that. Like you want to feel the sensations, and do they feel more like they're going towards expansion or towards contraction? And that will give you some information about how whatever ChatGPT is telling you is landing for you. And then suggest one small aligned action step I can take right now. This is super important to me because if I'm going to sit here and talk back and forth, I don't want this to be another conversation where this information just kind of gets lost in the ether, where I don't ever think about it again. I want to actually take an action step based on this conversation, if that is at all possible. So with that in mind, we will pop back over to the chat here where we explore this a bit. All right, so we're back in ChatGPT, and this is just copy and pasted that long prompt that I just showed you. And because I am filling this in with information from a long ago client that has been very much changed, and no personal details, nothing like that. And again, it's also very similar to questions that I've seen online that are from women that fit my ideal customer profile. So the situation that I put in is the things that used to make me happy don't light me up anymore. I used to have a large social circle, but now I prefer to spend time with close friends, family, or alone. When asked when the last time I felt joy was, I have trouble even recalling it or envisioning it in my mind. The last time I felt something that resembled joy or fun was playing a board game with my cousin. I keep up with my habits that help me stay grounded, journaling, working out, walking, and spending time outside. Things just don't quite feel good anymore, and I can't figure out why. So a lot of times when we're going through big changes or upheaval in our lives, sometimes we just feel like we've lost our spark. And that's why I chose to include this, is because I think this problem here would resonate with a lot of people. So there's the instructions that we just went over. Key facts: you're noticing a quiet shift, a subtle but persistent sense that things don't quite feel like they used to. So it kind of gives back what I gave it, just in a little bit of different language. And this gives me an opportunity to decide, did I give ChatGPT the info that I wanted to give it, and did it interpret it in the way that I had hoped it would? So the activities and connections that once brought happiness now feel a bit muted, etc., etc. I won't read all of this, or we'll be here all day. I like this end. And even though you're consistently tending to your grounding practices, journaling, movement, nature, it's as if something still isn't quite clicking into place. There's no clear crisis, but also no clear sense of aliveness either, just a quiet in between. So potential blind spots or unexplored perspectives. Grief in disguise. It's possible what you're feeling isn't apathy, but grief, not just the loss of people or things, but of a former version of yourself or a chapter that's quietly closed without ceremony. Are you mourning a past era where joy came more easily? It's interesting, right? Joy versus meaning. You might be trying to measure your emotional well-being by the frequency of joy when perhaps what you're actually seeking now is meaning, awe, or resonance. Joy can be loud, but peace and contentment often whisper. Energetic overwhelm. Is it possible you're emotionally or energetically overstretched? That you've been holding or processing more than you realize? Sometimes when we're carrying too much, even joy feels like one more thing to manage. And this is interesting because sometimes we have stuff going on in our lives that's really strongly impacting us and we may not realize it. We may just think, oh, that's just another thing that's happening. But really, it's having this profound effect on your day-to-day. And you haven't quite put your finger on that connection, but there could be one. So I love this because it starts getting you to look at things in maybe just a little bit of a different way. And that could be helpful. So limiting beliefs or identity level patterns. If I'm doing the right things, I should feel better. The good old I should feel better, right? We always think we should be further along, should be feeling better, should be feeling different, should be doing more, should be resting more. You got that external noise telling you what is right for you. And that's never fun. So this internal equation, habits equals happiness, can subtly invalidate complex emotions that arise even with self-care. So you think, hey, I'm doing these things that I got my morning routine. I got my before bed routine. I'm getting my exercise. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I'm spending time with family and close friends. Why do I feel this way? I should be feeling better because I'm doing all these things right. So we think like if we have these habits that we're supposed to have, then that automatically equals happiness. And this points out, you're doing all the right things, but maybe the current version of your life is calling for a deeper kind of listening, not just doing. Super interesting, right? Like this is about the turning inward, getting into alignment with yourself and not necessarily being bombarded by the doing, by the busyness, by the outside noise. The productivity of healing. There may be an unconscious belief that if you're not actively chasing big goals or cultivating excitement, you're somehow not fully living. But your current experience might be about integration, not acceleration. That's a super helpful perspective. Sometimes we think that we should be going after something. We should be in pursuit of something. Maybe not in every season of life. Former joy as a benchmark. I love that I brought this up. So measuring today's emotional landscape against the past can keep you from noticing what now is quietly asking for. Joy changes shape. What if this isn't the absence of joy, but the evolution of it? Meaning, as people, we're constantly changing and evolving. The way that we feel, it changes, it evolves. So if we're measuring our current state versus something that is no longer, you're chasing a benchmark that may not be realistic, right? Maybe, though it seems like things have dramatically changed, the social circle is smaller, the big things aren't making me happy, I don't feel excited about stuff, but it's showing that those quiet moments with the people that matter, like that still feels good. So maybe you're not meant to chase the thing out there, some, big, wild, crazy scheme. Maybe right now it's surrounding yourself with the people that you love, just spending good quality time with them. And I think sometimes we don't always consider that the way we're looking at our feelings or how we're supposed to feel is being measured against something, whether it's us in the past or somebody else. So this is really interesting perspective. Core strengths or innate resources. Radical self-honesty. The fact that you're noticing and naming this disconnect, even when it's subtle and hard to explain, is a sign of deep self-awareness. You're not bypassing or numbing, you're showing up with curiosity. So if you're feeling like, man, nothing feels good right now, this is letting you know, like there might be a disconnect, but you're showing up with curiosity. You're trying to understand it. You're not bypassing, you're not numbing. This is kind of maybe the pat on the back that you need. The reminder that you need that maybe things don't feel quite right, but you're doing just fine. Devotion to grounding practices. Even without a sense of reward, you remain in relationship with the habits that anchor you. That's integrity. That's resilience. That's a powerful inner tether. So you may be saying like, why am I doing these things? Like they're not even helping right now. But maybe they're the thing that's keeping you from spiraling. So pretty interesting perspective. Journaling prompts to explore. What do I miss, not just from the past, but from myself? I love this because I often have women talk about how they've lost some part of themselves, or they used to be somebody that fill in the blank, went on more vacations, needed more newness, was more outgoing, whatever it might be, right? Like some aspect of them that they loved about themselves feels like it's not there anymore. This is a great question. So what do I miss, not just from the past, but from myself? If joy looked completely different in this chapter of life, how might it try to express itself? So this is kind of just validating that maybe joy is a little bit different for you right now than how you think you remember it existing in your life. What am I not allowing myself to feel, to grieve, because I think I should be over it right now? And this gives you a chance to just explore. Is there something that may have happened that is causing this energetic shift? So great journal prompts to take away from ChatGPT, take to your journal and do separately. Again, you always have the option to bring them back and, get some more clarity, but it's always great to take these questions away from the computer and work on them on your own. One line of insight or encouragement: just because the light feels dim doesn't mean it's gone out. It might just be the turning point to something softer, deeper, truer. Somatic suggestion: close your eyes, place your hand over your heart or solar plexus, take a slow, deep breath in and ask, where in my body do I feel numb or quiet? Stay there for a moment, not to fix it, just to witness. Love this because this, at the end of the session, is inviting you to go into your body and see what's going on in there. One small aligned action step. Recreate that board game moment, not because you're chasing joy, but because you're tracing the outline of what still holds the spark. Invite your cousin or someone else you trust to play, laugh, or do something simple and pointless together. And this is just following the breadcrumbs, right? If you can think of the one thing that you felt some excitement, some happiness, some joy around, let's try to unpack what about that experience sparked that feeling. Was it the actual playing of the game? Was it the company that you were keeping? Right? So you kind of recreate it and you see what reappears, what doesn't, and you just follow those breadcrumbs because it's about understanding what's going on, what's different. And once you can kind of pinpoint the spark that is giving you that joy, that's giving you those good feelings, you can follow that and create it with other things. So ChatGPT offers a great, I'm here whenever you want to continue unpacking this. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're just in a season that's asking for a different kind of attention. So again, this isn't specific to me. This is more of a sample from, problem that exists in clients that I work with, and just gave us a jumping off point to explore that prompt a little bit more in depth. If this is interesting and helpful for you, continue to tune in, follow the channel for more. I will be releasing more videos with different prompts, going over them, how I structure them, why I do it that way, and going over ways that you could do some self-coaching if you either don't want to or aren't able to work with a human one-to-one right now. You can still use ChatGPT to help you work through stuff you got going on in your life. So if it's been helpful, subscribe to this channel, tune into the videos, and I do have a workshop coming up where I'm going more in depth into this stuff, and I will be talking about it. It's 90 minutes. It's only $12. I will go ahead and share it with you. Okay. So you can go to my website, adriancrowley.com/workshops. And this is all about quieting the noise, hearing your inner wisdom, and moving forward with AI as your thinking partner. So basically we're getting out of that loop of overthinking and we're getting clarity in some area of our lives. And we're going to leave the session with a to-do. I'm going to give you a bonus prompt pack so you can explore a ton of prompts on your own away from the workshop, opportunity to get coaching. And I'm going to teach you my framework for interacting with AI in this way. And I know that this works. I use it for myself. I use it for clients. And now I'm teaching everyone else how to use AI in this way. So I hope that you will be there. It is on April 26th. And I'm going to go ahead and share one more time my screen. There we go. Clarity without overthinking. This is the workshop. If you went to www.adriancrowley.com/workshops, this basically tells you everything that you need to know about this workshop. So we're getting deep here, and we're using AI as a thinking partner. And the reason for that is I want you to be able to use ChatGPT AI for this stuff on your own. So if something else pops up, you can take this framework, you can take what I'm teaching you and apply it to your situation and get help from AI in real time with whatever you got going on. So again, really powerful workshop, 90 minutes, and it's going to be so much fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a great chance to learn. If you have any questions, I'm there to answer them. And again, we're going to be able to quiet that mental noise, hear your own wisdom again, and know your next move by the time you leave. The thing about this is people look at AI sometimes as replacing people, taking away our autonomy, making decisions for us. No. My framework for self-coaching, for using AI as a thinking partner, is to amplify your intuition. So AI, ChatGPT, it gives you responses, but you bring your intuition. So again, I think this is a super powerful workshop. 90 minutes, you're going to learn so much, and what you'll walk away with, just that bonus AI prompt pack, it is worth way more than the $12 I'm charging for the workshop itself. So I hope to see you there. Again, if you just go to my website, www.adriancrowley.com/workshops, you can go ahead and register. And again, I think that you will learn so much in our 90 minutes together that you will be able to use again and again, even if we're not working directly together. So it is a win-win situation, only $12. It is very accessible pricing. I want everybody to be able to know this and use this. I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for watching this, and share it with a friend if you think it'll be helpful.